I'm like a healthy puppy. Happy Friday. What a week. Today, Friday is a day that I focus on the freedom. Freedom, however I can get a piece of it and make it bigger. Whether it's freedom to think well for myself, or freedom to create a new idea, freedom to surrender to a path, whatever it is, my train of thought, my thought energy is my free will to use or not every single day. And when we know that and invoke that and use that, life is different for us. It's like driving a stick or driving an automatic. It's not the same. It's the reason that it's worth doing all the tedious things. And I wanted to sort of talk a little bit this morning about those moments. I feel like typically people expect me to be very excited and happy and optimistic, uplifting. But there are always going to be parts of the wave where even a person that is usually that way will feel quieter. It's not as much rush going on as the manifestations unfold. I love to think about our moon in this situation and how it gets bigger and smaller, and then the waves and how they, sort of culminate, get tall, and then crash back down into itself again. That's how our creation goes. We have all heard about loops and patterns and cycles. Everything is sort of moving in a circle. And we have our connection to that. We have our steering ability to and through that with our thought energy. Most of the time we just don't notice that or know that. And the work of living present, being conscious in your creation, manifesting on purpose, doing all of those things in the beginning is a work that we aren't used to, because in our human, what we are used to out here, we work, we see a result. Even if we didn't love the work, there's some sort of instant gratification. Thanks for the love over there. With energy, it doesn't come that quick. If anything, it could be really slow going. I like to think of it as siphoning like a liquid. Whether you're using a gas tank or a swimming pool. We had a pool in our yard. So when we had to drain it, my dad would stick one hose in the pool and one hose down the hill and, hey, good morning, and suck on the hose until enough water was in that stream, in the momentum, that it would just keep going on its own. When we're thinking a new idea, it's like that. We're sort of sucking the idea into our world. And a lot of times we don't get something back out, so we stop sucking. And it doesn't necessarily ever get to come out. And if it does, it's in a way that it feels like we get the short end of the stick. Mostly because we gave up. We didn't let ourselves see ourselves through the rise so that we could ride that wave and come back in again. Like when we are understanding that, let's start again. It is easy for us all to know and see thinking well for ourselves, being good to ourselves is good for us. We all have examples of people that take care of themselves, and it does really very much appear like they're doing well. It has turned out good for them. Like for me, I'm 47. I've been doing this work for 10 years. And the difference in who I am and how I live today versus when this all started is not even the same person. People that meet me today would not recognize me. And people that have known me for my whole entire life have looked right at me and not known who I am. Including my own sister looked right in my face a couple years ago and did not know it was me. And I had a hat on, but that was all. It was a hat. It was still me, and we look alike. So you can become a different you. You can renew yourself. There is no such thing as the curtain call. You know, like they say, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. Baby, you're the fat lady. Love to all the fat ladies. You are the fat lady. And until you aren't waking up, you're singing. And you can be singing in your mind, this is working out for me, this is working out for me. Or you can be singing songs like, I'm not doing well at this. I never get this right. This always happens to me. You can let yourself call in new experience or repeat a loop. And you're kind of doing that all the time. It's one or the other. That's the coolest thing about our human experience. In the energy world, it's tricky in the beginning because it's invisible, right? But we get to know, once we understand how it works, some laws about it, kind of like gravity, what goes up comes down. What you put out comes back. I like to think of it like our boomerang, you know, and how we get new things to come out. We start layering it in until it spills. It's just like the water in the waves, just like the moon. We put the sun charge, bright big ass moon, and then it empty, start all over again. And until you aren't waking up, we are doing this over and over again. And we have super tons of examples. We have our Monday through Friday. We have January through February, January through December. You know, we have years. We have the calendar year. We have a birthday year. We have holidays and anniversaries to kind of always remind us and checking us in that, you know, you've been doing this for this time, you've been doing that for that time. And, you know, we've probably been walking and talking a little bit longer than we've been working in our profession, even if you are as old as I am and you have a little bit more time in the working world than you did in your child life now. Like, you've been walking since you've been alive. You can always add more. You can always shift what you got going on. Knowing that as a human, as a human, I have the capacity to see things one way and or another. So if I'm hearing something that feels bad or is bad or I don't like it, I could also experience this in an equal opposite experience. I could have this day lovely and wonderful and fantastic and generous and surprising and happy and new. And I could also have this day sad, scary, fearful, shut down, however you want to say. And there is never going to be a wrong way to do your energy because your energy is always just willing to do you. Like, your energy just came for you. I watched this really creepy ass movie the other night. It's called The Substance. And in this movie, there was an egg, like a cracked open egg with the yolk still intact. So you saw like the white membrane and then the yellow yolk in the pan or whatever the world it was on. At some point, they take like a tiny little syringe and inject something into the yolk of this egg, and the egg splices out another whole entire copy of itself. I like to think about our experience kind of like that. Our soul stream, the universe, God, source, however you want to say the biggest thing that is in all of this, sort of spit out this lovely copy of you, just like your biggest self. And just like in this really creepy movie, the two of you are one. That's just kind of like that's how it is with you and your higher self. You can choose to engage with your higher self and let that part of you accommodate you and enhance you and support you. Or you can choose to sort of cut yourself off from that and not have it. You know, you are the one that is choosing to let all of me be with me or to hold myself off. The same way that you choose to get up and walk across the room, you can choose to engage with your higher self or your intuition, your flow state, you know, the path of least resistance for you. And that is something that is not the same for every person, because as we are all powered through our thoughts, there aren't two people that would have the same thoughts. Even if two people like me and my sisters growing up in the same house, we didn't have the same thoughts. We didn't have the same outcomes in our bodies, in our minds, in our lives. You know, for some parts, we were just the same. But for many other parts, we weren't anything alike. And that's the coolest thing about being a human, is the duality of us. We are so much alike, and we get to be so different. We get to be just like me and you and me and we, and all the same, but all very different. And the thing is, our sort of, the world, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose, who really cares, has sort of tried to make us all like coming out in these like cookie cutter shapes. You know, be this way, do it that way, go that way, 1, 2, 3, and then you get to be a good, you know. But if you really look around, it has come quite apparent that people that are following the program are finding themselves having regret, not getting to let the juices run down their face, you know what I mean? Like they're sort of conforming, but satisfaction isn't the underlying energy. It's more just like surrender. And there are going to be parts of this experience that you will surrender when you're living on purpose, because it's just easier for you. Resisting the flow of a current is just going to take you, whether you want to struggle and make it hard, flip flam about, that's totally your choice. But sometimes you could just surrender and just let the wave just push you around and relax a minute and start all over again. And I've kind of had that my eyeballs are telling me I'm not ready to talk about this yet. So when we are having these moments that feel like, oh no, the wave is crashing, it's our best work. It's our best job. It's our most important job to be with ourselves through the things falling back down again. Sometimes, this is crazy. It's not crazy. There have been a couple of times in this experience where I have sat and stared into nature and not known what was going to happen. No joke. Not knowing where I was going to live, how I was going to live. And that was pretty scary. You know, that was pretty, that really had my attention. You know, it was really hard to do my work through that experience, even though it was almost the only thing I could do at that point. And mind you, of course we do things, they get easier. I've been learning and practicing and getting more and more of this under my belt for 10 years. This is a lot of practice, you know. It's not the same as when I was first learning. When I was first learning, it was very easy to abandon myself when the waves would crash down. When I was first learning, it was very easy for me to doubt all of this and to be afraid. When I was first learning this, it was easy for me to think that I was fucking up. And maybe I did a mistake, you know. But now, having had the chance to see myself through and notice how different it gets to be, I can let myself have faith in that. It's like faith in you. And it doesn't really feel like you have to make it up. It's just like you pretty much, I feel pretty sure the sun's coming up tomorrow. Like I almost have no doubt. I have no doubt I'm with me now. I'm gonna be with me tomorrow, and so on. Until again, that fat lady stops singing, Rose has got my back. You know, your bigger self, your soul stream, however you like to call that part of you. I like to call and have a name for Rose because it feels easier for me to connect and do the humaning part of it. You know, intuiting is very much our big self, like as a human, we are not our body. If I chop off my arm, I'm still Nancy. You know, if I'm 100 pounds bigger or smaller, done that twice. Didn't get a t-shirt though. Maybe I should make one. I was still Nancy. You know, when I was sick and afraid and wanting to quit, I was still Nancy. And as I got myself back and then moved through, I was still Nancy. And the thing that was different was doing this as Nancy with her whole self and doing this as Nancy with doubt, Nancy asking others, and Nancy that was really codependent. And I didn't know I was codependent. I thought I was doing what was right. You know, someone asked the other day in FB land, have you ever had a moment where you just get to yourself and you're looking at your life and you're like, is this it? And, you know, I would say that could be an understatement. You know, that was sort of like one of the tipping points for me, feeling like all I had done was contort and shift and morph myself into these visions and these goals that were set for me by like society, by like, you know, family. People expected me to find a person, to have a family and to do that, to be a good girl and stuff like that. Like that was sort of the program. You know, I was taught how to be palatable so that I could be a good wife. Please imagine a brick wall and me banging my head into it, because I would never do that to myself now. But back then I was. And that was because that was sort of how I was being guided to behave. You know, even from when I was young and in school and I know it all, as if that's a bad thing. You know, I was sort of, I don't remember how this actually came out in words, but I was really encouraged to not behave like a know-it-all, because nobody liked a know-it-all. Nobody specifically being the other part of the world that I would want one of them to be mine, to pick me. How was I going to find someone to take care of me and help me be this good wife if I'm a know-it-all? So I found myself dumbing myself down. I found myself playing dumb on purpose. And yes, sometimes it was kind of funny in my head. Not very many, but sometimes. And it was just something that I just got used to doing. As all the other parts of my social engagement that I sort of learned and sort of experimented with until I figured out how I wanted it to be with me. Hey, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. And that's how this always is going to be for us. And even if we're doing it on purpose or not, until we go through something for ourselves, we don't really know. And for some of us, like me, I've always been the kind of person that felt like if you were telling me not to do something, I was suspicious that you were trying to keep something from me. I kind of always felt like at a disadvantage. I was really kind of taught that this world isn't fair, nothing comes easy, and, you know, the things that I was to expect the best weren't going to be that great. But I should suck it up for the sake of, I'm not really sure what for the sake of others. I don't really know. Oh, right. For the sake of not being alone. For the sake of I should suck it up so I don't be alone. Oh God, do you know the worser, besides that word, thing than being alone is being around people and feeling alone, feeling invisible. I always wish that my superpower would have been invisibility. And the duality of me always felt like, damn, I wish I wasn't so invisible. I wish people would just see me. I wish my words mattered. I wish I could be like that. But I can't, because that's not my reality. And 10 years later, it can still do this. And I have like so much love for this part of me. And even when I'm surprised, like right now I'm surprised. I am surprised that my eyes are leaking. And maybe I'm not. Like, you know, this wave is crashing. But a lot of new things. Like, I've started a lot of new things in April's. Started a lot of new great jobs. I've had really good. I've had big breakups on April Fool's Day. I want to say maybe more than once, but definitely one that had to happen. And even in that moment, obviously that didn't feel good, but that needed to happen, you know? It's interesting as a person who was always taught to be afraid and to fear the world, to step into her personal space of bravery in every timeline that I am able to. As brave as I'm able to see myself here, I'm hoping and knowing I'm going to wake up and see myself a little farther tomorrow. And if I wake up and feel like, uh-oh, I can't see that right now, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And this is where our energetic self gets a little mismatch. It's pretty easy to feel excited about being ourselves, or to be happy to be ourselves when things are going right for us. You know, it's pretty easy to feel excited on vacation day. It's pretty easy to feel okay on payday. It's pretty easy to feel okay like on your birthday or a holiday. But what about all of those other days? It's pretty easy to feel okay on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day off you get to have. It's pretty easy to feel pretty okay when you get to sit down and have a beer or whatever it is you like to do. But we are losing our energetic power all of those moments, all of those days, all of those thoughts where we think nothing is mattering or thinking about us. Like, we aren't understanding that our cells, C-E-L-L-S, and selves, S-E-L-V-E-S, are continuously listening and hearing everything we think. And sometimes those feelings invoke deep emotional feelings, like your face will leak. Sometimes you will smile so big remembering something and everything is like, and sometimes you feel fear and worry and anxiety or anger or hate, and all of your cells and selves are feeling that. And your best job for yourself is to think and feel on purpose to the best of your ability. In the beginning, recognizing that you've lost a train of thought, meaning I can't stop thinking this. I've gone over here and I'm still thinking about what she did, and I've gone over here and God, that son of a, and I'm over here and I still can't stop. Go to sleep. Turn it off and on again, you know? But sometimes we can catch, like, we'll see something or hear a song and we'll think about, don't do it, turn the song off. Walk over here. We can shake it off a little easier if we don't let it start going and going and going and choo-choo. But once you're already in the swirl and you're hating and stomping, and you're probably going to think that way for a minute. Just let it ride. Those are the moments when it's your probably best bet to surrender. Take a nap and try it again tomorrow or after your nap. But don't try to stand in front of a freight train and stop it. You won't. You won't. You're going to feel exhausted and tired, and you're going to feel upside down more. You're going to feel more and more disempowered. When you cannot manage your thought energy, your best bet is getting yourself to a place where you can regroup. And if you can't physically do it in your head. This is your best work. This is your most important work. And it doesn't look like work. You can't always see something. People don't notice. No one's going to pat you on the back. You don't get a paycheck. But it doesn't cost you anything. And if you're willing to just give it a little bit of time, it will start to spill. If you're willing to give it time and see it through, you would start doing it here and here and here. You can point and shoot with your thought energy and emotional body. We're doing that anyway, but it's more like boom, 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 boom. And manifestation's like, yay, ooh, You know, like sometimes we love our life and sometimes we want to check out. And the way that we can get a more continuous stream of even a boring ass Tuesday with nothing going on, not on even a pay week, we can still love to wake up in our life. If you're a person who has felt like they would rather be asleep than awake, it would be good for you to learn a little bit more about this. If you're a person who doesn't understand why they're here and it seems more exciting to be done with this than to continue this would be good for you. If you're a person who's in her 40s and she's tried all the things and she's just about to give up and just say, I am what I am, and this would be good for you, you know? And if you're none of those people, this would be good for you too. I just happen to have a special love for women who have sort of been trained and taught and guided into this role that was never gonna serve them. And I know I'm not alone to get all the way through the end of all the hoops and feel like there was a fart in the box. The prize was a fart in the box? What's in the box? A fart. Like, no offense. Maybe all the offense. Maybe all the offense. Not in a way that's gonna make me like angry or cutty. Maybe if it'll make me laughy, all the offense. But otherwise, thank you for showing me what wasn't working for me so that I could have found my way here. Did I think that way the first day I learned this work? No. I thought this was fucked up. I thought life kind of is a BI and F her. You know, like who signed me up for this? They're not my friend. And now it's not that way. I'm like, I can see why I did this. Well played. Like, it's kind of like a mix of Who Sunk My Battleship, definitely a little bit of Candyland, definitely a little bit of Monopoly. And maybe like a little Go Fish. Definitely some I Declare War. And it just keeps flipping and flipping and I wish you guys could sometimes hear the audio that bops in my brain. And then I always wish that, like, when my BFF is around, she can usually hear it. And it's pretty fun and funny. Like, we're pretty much like Furbies. But anyway, that was pretty fun in my head if you would have heard that. I bet somebody could guess, but I'm not sure. And as much as I can hear that in my head, it wouldn't sound good, guys. Trust me. Trust me, bros. Trust me, bros. I didn't come to play basketball either. Just so you know. There are some things that I'm not that best at. Basketball is one of them. I get to still be great at many things. I'm just not going to be it. But I can sometimes really make a basket for the trash can when I'm trying. And then I feel like basketball tactic. And it's like, that's enough. That's enough for me in basketball land. I'm not sure what basketball has got to do with it. Now that we've talked about it, let's keep it going. 8 minutes and 8:11. We've talked about basketball for 30 seconds now, and I do not play basketball. I'm not tall. I don't want to be fast like that. I have tiny T-Rex arms, and I've always thrown like a girl, and I've been damn proud of it. But this girl just doesn't throw. I throw like a girl that doesn't know how to throw that well. Some girls throw great. This girl doesn't throw that great. So yeah, basketball. Wonder what you're gonna do with me today. I'll let you guys know later. This should be fun and funny. I'm curious because this is not an interest of mine. Except I did learn one time about the wingspan of men, you know, from here to here. Is like is that their height? Their height is their wingspan? Is that what I learned? Am I making that up? That was a pretty cool thing. It was a weird ass date. This guy, you ever go on an accidental date with a troll? I think he was a troll now that I'm in my brain. I think he was like a troll. He asked me if I was a little person. And no offense to a little person, but I'm also not a black person. I just felt like, what? Why are you asking me that? It was just so weird. He was kind of one of those guys that I didn't know at the time, but I think that he was one of these guys that was like a secret Trump supporter, and thanks for the follow, and was like trying to get me to talk and try to, like, he was thinking he was gonna change my mind. I'm not sure if he decided to pretend call me a little person, or I don't know if he was trying to offend me. I don't know if it's because, yeah, I don't really understand what that was about. It was a very strange moment. And I guess maybe you had to be there, because just repeating it doesn't sound as awkward as it was. But I don't understand what that means. Not ham, if that's what you're thinking. But if you mean as in the world of lovers, absolutely. Duh. I would even get down with a little person if they were attractive to me. I'm just not a little person. I'm a short me. But yeah, I think that guy was a douche. I think he was a troll. I think he was like trying to like change. I'm not gonna thumbs up. Why would I? JP, are you a man with a suit asking me to thumbs up? Like, that's weird. I don't know why it's super weird. You're in a suit asking me to do that. Like, I said yes. If my words aren't enough, then pretend I said no. That's kind of how I go with my kids. I'm like, you don't like the way I'm answering it, pretend that it's the wrong answer. Yeah. Good morning, JP. I'm only being nice to you because one of my favorite men alive is named JP. Just kidding. I'm being nice. I'm a nice person. I'm not a nice person. I'm a kind person. I'm a kind person. Sometimes you have to train yourself. And in the beginning of doing that, it's like, I was telling a friend the other day, it does not feel exciting to be in the moment of like a heated space, right? Like an argument, for example. I know. Happy Friday. It's easy in the middle of an argument to say the things that you feel justified to say, like F you, or go right to double hockey sticks, you know what I mean? It isn't as easy to sort of keep your composure. For me, it wasn't as easy at all. In fact, I think I was kind of programmed to be like a rabid chihuahua. So when you're in this work in the beginning, using your words on purpose is like the most efforty work you'll do. Not letting yourself go when you just want to like, not letting yourself do that is hard. But it gets really easier. In the beginning, I was so disappointed. I had to argue with myself through it to not do it, because I wanted to tell that person to F right off. I wanted to not take the high road. I wanted to meet them where they were and match energy. I just didn't want to keep living that loop. And the only thing I could hear is, this is how you break the loop. This is how you break the loop. And I just was like, this. I was not happy, but I did it. And then the next time it happened, it was easier for me to choose peace. And I don't think it happened again after that. When we're disengaging from something that's got our goat that much, you only gonna have to meet it again 2 or maybe 3 times. And you just gotta stand your ground. You have to command the energy right in its face, especially when you're dealing with a mother who has been like using, abusing, or whatevering you that is not very nice. And now you just noticed and you're just over it. So, sometimes when we're in those moments of not feeling our biggest power, it's helpful for us to have different tools, things to keep us distracted. On a day that I'm not feeling my strongest mental faculty or emotional well-being, if I feel like I need more reassurance, I'm going to do everything to help me and my body be more assured. I'm going to not go into and around people that stress me out. I'm going to maybe reschedule things if I can. I'm not going to cancel things because I'm not going to add more stress to my plate, but I'm going to take care of everything that I have to take care of while taking the most care of me through it. I'm going to take my time. Oh, enjoy golf. I'm going to take my time, and I am going to get through the down part of this wave, the down part of this creation, so that I can be with myself through the rise. A couple years ago, I was sitting in my friend's backyard staring into nature. And the only words I could say was, thank you, trees, thank you, me. Thank you, trees, thank you, me. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was afraid. I did have proof that the universe loved me, but this felt a little bigger than a parking spot. This felt even bigger than losing lots of weight without working, which was very cool. But what else? This felt really big. And I didn't know what else to do, so I just kept repeating, thank you, trees, thank you, me. I let myself sort of mantra, hypnotize myself into peace. I would take naps. I just kept quieting my mind when I'd be like, oh God, what am I gonna do? Oh no, what if this happens again? Then I would say, well, this is old energy. I'm not doing the same things again. I'm going to let this be different. And I'm gonna let myself not suffer through this change. And once I got through that, it was kind of like amazing that it did work out. And I wasn't excited through it. Like, it was scary. And I was a little nervous. I'm not going to say it was scary and I was like, woo, yay. No. This time around, it's been scary and I haven't cried until just this morning. This has been something I've been learning all week and tears haven't erupted from my eyes until just this morning. It's been definitely more a mix of excitement because I'm like, well, this is definitely not what I was planning, but I know that that's not my job. My job isn't planning. My job is alignment. My job is getting myself to the place where I can meet my highest self and ride into the biggest, best, most fun timeline, most productive for me timeline, most powerful, healthy, loving, supported, abundant, prosperous, all the good words that I've been creating on purpose this year. But those weren't the words I used in my first year. I just wanted peace. I wanted ease. I wanted quiet. I wanted the hurt to stop. I wanted relief. That's not the same as the words I was just saying, like excitement, joy, support, more and more and more and more and more. I want you to blow my mind. Now that's what I would say. Now I'm like, oh, you're going to try and move my cheese? Well, show me where my castle is then. That's literally how I feel about it. I just once sat in the backyard with nowhere to go. I said, thank you, trees, thank you, me. About 2 or 3 weeks later, I had a boss. Her legal name was Tree. I'm not joking. I can show proof. I don't have to, but I could. That didn't work very long, but it was just enough to land me to this spot, which was what I was wondering about, into the trees. How in the world what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Is this gonna work? Will I make it? Am I gonna be okay? And I just kept saying, well, I would like to be. I wanna believe I'm in the right place at the right time. I wanna believe I'm doing it all right. I wanna believe God's not gonna get me this far just to leave me. That didn't feel good. So that was easy to kind of give me the reassurance. I know the universe has gotten me here. I didn't come this far just to come this far. Some of our sayings and cliches can be really helpful. And I think if it's good, use it. Thankful Thursday is good. Why would I mess with that? I like that energy. I can get behind that. It's matches, but not all the things match. And those I just make my own meaning about. And we can all do that. And we could choose to make meaning with nothing. We could choose to let this all be meaningless. And that, even though it doesn't feel like it, is our choice. So when we're in these days where the ocean has crashed back into itself and maybe the current shifted, and when I was a little kid, I was sort of taught how to swim. My dad would take me out into the ocean, and I don't know if you'd wait for the big wave on purpose or if waves just be waving, but more than once we'd be in the ocean and a big wave would start and he'd see it coming and he's like, I'll see you in a minute. And he'd let me go because he knew that that wave was going to like pummel us. And if we were trying to hold on to each other, we were going to just, and that he believed that that wouldn't be very helpful. He didn't think that he was a strong enough swimmer to like hold me above the wave. So he just let me go. And I would, like being in a washing machine, back into the shore. And I remember that feeling. Like there were times in the moment when you're being like toppled and boppled around. Hey, good morning. You can't even tell where your head is. I don't know, like, you know, your head would bonk the sand and you'd see bright light, but you're down at the ground. The bright is not coming from the sun. It's from the sand. Like you don't know if you're up or down. You're just sort of, and yeah, it usually only lasts about like 10 seconds or so, maybe. But whoa, what a rush. And so that's how I learned to swim. And now when I feel like I was out in the ocean and I didn't notice that there was a big doozy coming up behind me and I've gotten a little pummeled, when I'm in those moments, it's helpful to rely on the tools that have helped me heal my emotional body and soothe my nervous system and rewrite my stories and create new neural pathways and attract new components and new manifestations. Sometimes I like to use cards because, thanks for the follow. Sometimes I like to use cards because it's an easy tool. You know, in the beginning, I was definitely one of those people that was like, can I do this? I wanted somehow someone to give me permission to use cards or, you know, tarot cards, oracle cards. These are oracle. But now I don't ask permission from others to do things. Like obviously I wouldn't just take something that wasn't mine to take. But if there is something that I find in the world that is a tool that is offered and it seems like it might be good for me to try, I'm gonna try. So with this one, I like it because with any practice, like walking or talking or drawing or driving, the more you do it, the more you feel comfortable, the more you feel like you know what you're doing. And so with tarot, it's a fun mix of letting myself trust and lean into my intuition and trust that this one's kind of fun, but it's kind of like a fail safe. And as like, I'm an experimenter. I will Swiss cheese this project and try to make it fail. I will try to fail this project until I can see it is unfailable, infallible. You know, I want to know if it's sturdy. I need to know the consistency and integrity and the loops and the covers and the how to reback build, and if this is going to withstand the test of time. Is this for a moment or is this just, you know, that matters. But with this, there are a couple of things that get to be true about this. When you pull the card right this moment, it is true for now. And you can take any message that you like. You could just look at the blue and hear what you know from the color blue. Again, we give everything meaning. So of course blue has a meaning, right? Sea lion. Let's just play with that for just 1 minute, because one of my favorite sayings is like when a person is like bragging on their self, and you can tell that it's not a brag that I would find healthy, like true. When they're trying to sell you on something that isn't quite what it is, you can feel that. And I usually respond by saying that a lion never, ever, 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 ever has to tell someone that it's a lion. So you're probably lying. Like, I don't even say the part that you're probably lying, because it smells a little like it, you know? But a lion never has to say that he's a lion. And I know this, you know? The sea part, I love, because it's the biggest, like, I feel like the ocean is Earth's womb, and we can go to the womb and like sit there and hear the swishing and feel really small again. You know, we can like close our eyes and just be consumed by the sound and the smell. Like the ocean feels really, 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 really a lot like I would imagine that would have been or was. And even so much that when I was planning my return to the blend, I wanted to use the ocean. It felt like that's where I came from, and I'm going to go back there again. You know, I also happen to know that I have like connection to whale animal energy. And that's just another, maybe a weird thing to learn and say, but isn't it cool? Isn't it so cool to learn? Like, you get to be, your soul stream also participates in certain animal energies, and you can breathe weirdly, wildly into your body and sense parts of what that part of you can sense and know, you know? And maybe that's a little further away than a first conversation, but not for everybody. Not for everybody at all. Your worries and fears aren't real. Oh shit, don't do it. I mean, I can do whatever I want. I just don't want to do it on camera. They are fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that which you're afraid of. Stop worrying and let go of fear, and everything will be okay. One of the coolest things that I was able to see for real and get proof of was that going through the moments when the waters come back down and when I'm not sure, letting myself move through the moment, not being afraid, didn't mean that it didn't work out. Part of me used to believe that while things were going wrong, if I didn't pay attention to it going wrong, it may go more wrong. You know, I felt like if something was a mess, that I had to pay attention. I had to put my heart into it, because otherwise the universe or God or this other being would not believe me, you know, and maybe it would come out even more scary than my fears. I really believed that. And I know that I'm not alone in being fixated on our fears. But for me, I just really believe that if I didn't keep focusing, it would be worse. And this many loops in and years of practice in, I will tell you that it's not true. You can get through that creation. You can get through even a hard space and not let yourself lose it. Not let yourself go back to the things that maybe you've used to numb yourself or to sort of quiet away, whether it's more sleep or something that's a substance or a food or another person. There are so many ways that we sort of preoccupy ourselves with what we're going through because we don't feel like we can stand it. We don't feel like we're going to be able to see ourselves through to the other side. But when we're able to know that even this is hard and I still deserve to love me through this, that's when we're really expressing our free will. You know, right now, I'm not riding the wave. I am not surfing Cowabunga, dude. I am not feeling the proudest of this moment in my mind, but I'm not at all ashamed of that. I feel like I'm always in the right place at the right time. So even though the plan has changed, I'm still in the right place at the right time. So it's just moving me where I want to be. I'm in the right place at the right time all the time. So now I'm just going to the right place to be in the right place. It's just like that. When something is moving, when a car is driving really slow in front of you, when someone tells you no, you're being more rerouted for and through time than almost anything else. It's sitting you down and repositioning you. Ask over there. Look that way instead. You know, most of the time, your higher self is going to be calling you to the next better loop, the next expanding idea. Your higher self doesn't want to see you repeating loops, Groundhog Day, banging your head against the wall. That's not what your big self wants for you. But your big self loves you enough that you will let you do that over and over and over again until that fat lady does, in fact, stop singing. And then maybe you'll just start all over again. Probably so, maybe, you know. So wherever you are today, I love that the card is a 9. I love 9 for the completion. It feels like the end. All right, I'm gonna go because I need to take care of me. I'll see you later.